This presentation is an overview of my honors thesis project in the evaluation and protocol development of canine scent discrimination training for the detection and conservation of endangered sea turtle egg clutch. Scent detection. Dogs have some of the most powerful noses that we know of. That, coupled with their excellent trainability, makes them perfect candidates for scent detection work. While humans have 5 million scent receptors, dog noses have 220 million, with a bit of variability based on breed. That requires them to use 40 times the amount of brain power on their smell. They use their keen sense of smell to map out and visualize the world, locate prey, and analyze scent markers as a method of communication. So just how good are their noses? Trained dogs are able to detect soil contaminants at 1 part per million with up to 99% accuracy, and alert to trace levels of accelerants or pollutants with a quantity as low as 0.005 millionths of a liter, which is as accurate as a laboratory test. One study found that dogs can trace a human scent through a busy city center 48 hours after the track was left with 77.5% accuracy. Conservation dogs. Conservation dogs are increasing in popularity across the world for their keen searching abilities that can lead them much closer to a target species than most other methods. They are used in non-invasive sampling, tracking individual animals, locating scat, plant species, mold growth, and even trace levels of cyanobacteria with 92% accuracy at 1 millionth of a liter. Conservation dogs can be trained to locate buried clutches of sea turtle eggs, often buried 30 or more centimeters under the sand, so conservationists can locate these eggs, mark them off for their protection, or remove them from unsafe locations. My thesis dogs. The 3 dogs that I use in my thesis are all service dogs in training in the Diggity Dog Service Dog program run through UMass Amherst. They are in training to be psychiatric and medical alert service dogs and are trained using positive reinforcement methods. Most training for this thesis occurred at their training facility in Greenfield, Massachusetts. My first conservation dog in training is Velma, my personal service dog in training. She's a yellow Labrador Retriever, Golden Retriever mix. She's 17 months old and has minimal background and find as needed for her service training. The second conservation dog in training is Winifred, or Winnie, a Black Labrador Retriever who's 15 months old, a service dog in training who has an excellent and ongoing background in learning find for multiple different objects. My third conservation dog in training is Sawyer, a yellow Labrador Retriever who's 2 years old and is a fully fledged service dog. He has previous experience learning find for a few items. In preparation for training scent detection, all of the dogs have previous experience with clicker training for their service dog training, in which a click sound is conditioned as a positive marker using food rewards. The click can be used to mark specific behaviors before a treat can be delivered. I built a scent wheel with 8 moving arms to be able to manipulate the location of the egg and the scent. Boxes were also used during the training to remove the visual of the egg and ensure the dogs are using their sense of smell to locate the egg. The actual training. I began our training by introducing the scent of the egg to the dogs. This is done by building a positive association between the word egg and the actual egg. So you hold the egg out to the dog. When the dog sniffs the egg, you click to mark the sniffing, and then you reward them for that. So you continually hold the egg to the dog. When they sniff it, click reward over the egg. So while they're being fed, they're smelling the egg. Remove the egg and repeat. Good girl. Yes, good. Good. Good job. To introduce the dog to the find egg cue, you start by placing the egg within sight of the dog. You then ask, find egg. The dog sort of has a recognition to the word egg. So as soon as they look at or move towards the egg, click reward and jackpot for that. By jackpot, I mean giving them a large quantity of treats that's more than they usually get, so they know what they did was extra special. Step away, ask them to find egg again. When they look or move towards the egg, again, click and jackpot. And repeat this until they are consistently going towards the egg when you say find egg. To introduce the scent wheel, start with the dog in a sit-stay away from the wheel. Place the egg into the first arm and release the dog and say find egg while leading them towards the arm with the egg. When they go to sniff the arm with the egg, click and reward them as close to the egg as possible so they're sniffing the egg smell while getting the reward. Back them away and ask again for find egg. When they sniff, click and reward again and repeat until they understand the concept. So I'm clicking and rewarding her for sniffing. Is it the correct one? Good find it, yes. Good find it, yes. Teaching the search. This is going to be done with the scent wheel. So once they have the concept down of find egg and how to use the scent wheel, you put them in a sit stay a little bit away from the scent wheel. Then you place the egg in one arm of the scent wheel and move the arm a little bit away from where it's been during your introduction training. Then release your dog, walk around the wheel, encouraging the dog to sniff each arm. And as soon as they sniff the arm with the egg, click reward and jackpot for that. Then remove them from the wheel, place them in another sit stay, move the wheel again, and encourage them to sniff each arm until they find the correct one. Reward and repeat until they understand the concept. I adjust its position a little bit. Good girl. All right, find it. Yes, good find it. Good find it. Adding a sit cue using the scent wheel. This is essentially what we use so that the dog can alert us to when they've found the egg. So this is the next step in them understanding that they're looking for the egg. So you're going to start by using the scent wheel as you were using before. Place the egg in the scent wheel while the dog is down or in a sit or down stay a little bit away. Ask them for a find egg, and when they're accurately sniffing the correct arm every time, when they find the correct arm, ask them for a sit before you click and reward. And as soon as they sit, click reward and make a really big deal out of it. Take them a little bit away again, put them in a sit stay, and then move the scent wheel again. When they accurately find the correct arm, have them sit and reward them as soon as they're sitting, jackpotting every time. When you do this a few repetitions, and when they can sit without you asking for it, jackpot again. Adding a sit as you would use it in a room search. So you place the egg on an accessible surface like a couch. You ask the dog for egg, which is a word that they already know. When they touch the egg, ask them for a sit. When they sit, that's when you click and reward them. So you're going to repeat this again and again until every time you ask for egg or find egg, they touch the egg and then they sit. Then jackpot for that automatic sit and continue on. Girl, stand. Good egg, sit. Good egg. Find egg, sit. Good find egg. Find egg. Good find egg. Once your dog has had success with the scent wheel, you're going to start teaching them how to do room searches. So you place your dog in a down stay and you place the egg within sight of the dog, laying it on the floor or on a chair or something. Release the dog from a down stay or a sit stay and ask them to find egg, which is again a word that they already know. When they go over to the egg and touch it, you click and reward, jackpot them for finding the egg. Move them slightly farther away, ask for find egg again if they can find it, continue moving them slightly farther apart or placing the egg in a more difficult spot to locate before you move the dog out of sight when you place the egg. This will teach them that they have to start using their noses in order to find where the egg is in the room. Stay. Place the egg. And then I'm going to start the stopwatch. Find egg. Find it. Find it. Yes, find egg. Throughout my training sessions, I've been collecting data about each of the dogs as we work through the stages of scent detection. I've been putting into a spreadsheet the time that each find session lasts for when I release the dog until they find the egg, the location of every egg for each room search, and whether or not the egg was found. Our struggles. Velma has gotten to a place in her training where she is pretty accurate with room searches, where she's able to locate the egg. However, I've noticed that she's not really using her nose when she's looking for the egg. She tends to visually look for the eggs. So to fix this, we've been working on boxes. So I've been laying out these boxes, putting the egg in the box and asking her to locate where the egg is. And I'll move on to closing the box so she has to use her nose to continue the search. Winnie, while being the best overall of all three dogs, she's been able to do most everything I ask her to do. She tends to get frustrated if she can't find the egg fast enough. So my fix to this is keeping sessions really positive and rewarding her for her smaller successes throughout each session. Like Velma, Sawyer tends to struggle using his nose, and he tends to visually look for the egg rather than sniffing for it. And we've, again, been using those boxes. And his main struggle is repetition. He's been a service dog for a while, so this is bringing back a lot of his training. And he tends to slow down when we do repeat sessions doing tasks a lot of times. Next steps. Before moving on to anything beyond room searches, you want to make sure that the dogs can locate the eggs in 10 out of 10 trials while they're out of sight and the egg is hidden from view. The dog should be sitting and locating the egg and clearly using their nose to sniff out and locate the eggs. The next step in their training is to work on sand. So we're going to start with a sand box, placing the egg on the sand and asking for find egg, rewarding when they locate the egg. We're going to slowly start burying the egg until they understand the concept of searching the sand until they can find the scent of the egg. Then we're going to repeat and slowly bury the egg more until we hit the bottom of the sand pit and they're able to keep finding it before we move on. And when we move on, we're going to start with much deeper sand, starting with the dog inside and the egg on the surface of the sand, slowly burying the egg as we did with the sandbox until we can increase it to a depth of 30 centimeters, where the dog is accurately finding the egg smell and only moving on when we get successes. Then you start increasing the distance away that you start away from the egg, and then you start moving locations. And that's how you train a conservation dog to detect sea turtle egg clutches.